Today, we're talking chassis mount splitters. If you've been following the channel and you know about the cheap R, you know that we've got a CJM chassis mount splitter on that thing. And that worked out because the whole front bumper is falling apart, car's totaled. I need a way to hold that front end together. Talking with Colin at Euro Tuning, he's like, hey, hit up Chris at CJM Industries. He's got sweet splitters. So we did it. Chris hooked us up with their V4 chassis mount splitter. We pushed dumpsters with that thing. Colin rammed it into the ground. The thing is bulletproof. It's a dozer blade. We love it. So behind me, you can see I've got the white big turbo R apart, and I've got some of this already installed. So Chris hooked us up with his V2 blade on this one, and I want to show you the differences between those two. So right here, we've got Chris's V2 stacked on top of a V4 blade. He has two blade options for the Mark 6, and the V2 has this air dam all the way around with his sweet logo riveted right into the front. That is very clean, and you'll see it's a much more rounded and subtle curve as compared to the V4 underneath, which is what we have on the cheap R. They both stick out about the same. They're both lined up in the back right now. And one thing I want to note is that I've got an aftermarket bumper here, and the way you might be able to tell this is I don't have a turn signal outlet there, and I do not have a relief in the passenger side for my toe point in my bumper. So the problem with that is we've got this chin on this, and on this bumper, the chin is way out, like 2 inches further out. So now that bumper needs to sit down right on top of here, but it's like way out here. Can't use the V2, so we're gonna have to go with the V4. And what's really great about this is Chris actually set us up with this coated finish, and it looks so good. Everything has this really nice kind of textured black finish to it. You can see that in the light. It looks really good. Even the turnbuckles for your end support. Really high quality products. Chris is the man. He got it all together. And another thing I wanted to go over is if you are installing one of these and you want to make it a little bit easier for future removal and assembly, right here are your mounting bolts. And so when I put this together at my house the other day, I shot a little video just to show you how I made this part a little bit easier. Basically, this crash bar is upside down right now. And then this is your mount. And then your blade sits up on top of here. And so he has you, because he's assuming most of you don't have a welder, that you're going to drill your holes out. There's a factory hole here, you make a little bigger, and then you drill a hole here. And then you're going to drop your bolt down from inside the bumper up or down, because it's upside down right now. But if you want to get some bonus points, flip it the other way around, put the nuts on the inside, bolt it all together, and weld it. So now we can just simply set this on here, and anytime you need to remove it, you now don't need to take the whole bumper off the car. You can just simply unbolt those from the bottom of the bumper, good to go. So to get a little better look at that on the car, you can see here that it's all installed, and I've got my bolts going up in, and instead of the nuts free spinning up inside the crash bar, they're now welded in place. They cannot spin. So if I ever need to pull all of this off, I can simply just come up here, run my bolts down, and this all drops off. The other nice thing about that too is if the bolts are not facing down, they're not in the way of that crash bar bolt, which everything's a compromise. If you don't have a welder, it's way more convenient to just drop those bolts down. But if you do have a welder, and you can do what I did, bolt it in like that, you'll be good to go. As you can see, I've got this all mounted up. It's all mocked up. I don't have things tightened down yet, but I'm just kind of fine tuning my height. And that's really great because you have tons of adjustability here, all those different settings. And that's going to let you adjust for where the bottom of your bumper sits. So on mine, I'm really close for the splitter to actually be touching the bottom of my bumper cover. My problem is I also have this aluminum skid plate to deal with, which makes it a little bit lower, you can see. So I've got a happy medium here to where I'm almost touching the bottom of the bumper cover. It looks really clean, but I'm also accounting for my skid plate underneath. And again, you have that adjustability. The other cool thing is you have these turnbuckles. I've got this just loosely bolted in, but it bolts in underneath right there. And these are flush mounted, so when they're tight, you can see just slides right over. You're not gonna catch on stuff. And then now with this, we can lengthen and push that down, or we can shorten and bring that up. Just tons of adjustability. If you want this to curve up with your bumper cover, you can do that. I want mine to be perfectly flat all the way across. Chris really puts the thought into this. You've even got a P here and then a D here to show you which side is the driver's side and which side is the passenger side. So he really puts a lot of thought into these. It's a really clean setup. A very obvious benefit that I have not addressed yet is that you get all this added protection. So here's your factory core support, and that's plastic. And it looks like we had a little fire here with the previous owner. This is pretty brittle. It's not very strong. And as we know, if you're rough on the front end of your car, or you let your buddies borrow it who are rough on it, I'm not gonna name any names, but it might rhyme with Rollin' and Rupton. I'm willing to bet that Chris's whole chassis mount setup is cheaper than replacing your core support with an OEM core support and the labor included to do that. You got this massive beefy cage all the way around your stack of cooling that is very vital to your engine, and you get to make your car look way cooler while doing it. One last bonus benefit to having a chassis mount is having a platform to just set your bumper cover on when you're taking it on and off. I can just sit there, I can adjust it, get it all bolted in, don't have to worry about holding that thing up. Real nice. All right, you're gonna have to forgive my peeling wrap, and the car's still dirty from Wookiees, but look at that finished product. That is just so clean. And again, not only are we looking way better, we have all that beefy protection, not only out towards the front, but you have that cage all the way around your whole cooling stack there. And I'm just super impressed with this. And although I'm a little bummed we couldn't go with the V2 with the air dam, the V4 looks so nice just following the lines on this bumper. Doesn't look too aggressive or crazy, but it's just the right amount of everything. Chris, you are the man. You come up with great solutions. Check him out, cjmind.com. He's got lots of solutions for problems you run into just modding your car, but he's got lots of splitters, he's got lots of diffusers, he's got side skirts, he's got lots of aero that's really functional. He's got brake cooling ducts that he's releasing for the Mark 7s, lots of stuff for the Mark 7, decent amount of stuff for the Mark 6. Check him out. He's got all kinds of stuff. Chris, you're the man. Thank you. cjmind.com or at CJ Ministries on Instagram.